Welcome to JD's Prep. In this video, we review the evolution of taste in hummingbirds. Here we have a project titled Hummingbirds Are Sugar Junkies. Most humans enjoy candy, cake, and ice cream, and as a result of evolutionary history, we have a wide variety of tastes. This is not true of all animals. Cats do not seek sweets. Over the course of their evolutionary history, the cat family tree lost a gene to detect sweet flowers. Most birds also lack this gene, with a few exceptions. Hummingbirds are sugar junkies. Hummingbirds evolved from an insect-eating ancestor. The genes that detect the savory flavor of insects underwent changes, making hummingbirds more sensitive to sugars. These new sweet-sensing genes give hummingbirds a preference for high-calorie flower nectar. Hummingbirds actually reject certain flowers whose nectar is not sweet enough. Let's review this problem to answer some questions. Here we have a prompt that asks us to discuss how sweet sensitivity in hummingbirds has developed. And in our answer, we need to identify the initial event responsible for the new sweet sensing gene for 1 point. And we need to explain how the presence of sweet sensing genes increased in the hummingbird population over time for another point. And then we finally need to describe how the fossil record of hummingbird ancestors might be used to learn more about the evolution of food preferences in hummingbirds. Let's first start by making a few points to talk about the first point, where we identify the initial event. Well, from the paragraph, we found, and this is a little small, but we found that there was a mutation in the insect-eating ancestor from which the hummingbirds evolved to taste sweet things. So I'm going to write down, and you can make a paragraph about this, but I'm just going to write down a point that addresses the first part, which is that, and I'll take it right from there, that the initial event is a mutation in the insect-eating ancestor. From which hummingbirds evolved. And they evolved to taste sweet things. Now let's address the second part. We need to explain how the presence of the sweet sensing gene increased in the hummingbird population over time. Well, this would require the hummingbirds to be able to feed, thrive, mate, and increase their population through offspring. So I'm just going to write down that increased presence of sweet-smelling gene it also increased the range of food types that hummingbirds could eat. And I'll just also add, they were able to eat insects and sugar although they did develop a preference for sugar, and allowed for more offspring. To be produced. Now let's address the last part, where we have to describe how the fossil record of hummingbird ancestors might be used to learn more about the evolution of food preferences in hummingbirds. Well, looking at the fossil record means that we're going to be looking at preserved remains of hummingbird ancestors. So some things that we can look at are their beaks, their tongues, and other parts that would help us identify how they ate. And there we have addressed all 3 points. Thanks for visiting JD's Prep.